Hello one and all. I'm recording this Wednesday afternoon. I've gone through my main ETF list and my main indices list, and I've plucked out 12 charts that I'd like to go through, share a few feelings about, because last couple of days have been really cool days, and Thursday might be quiet maybe, in anticipation of the Friday jobs number. We will see, but I'm really fully loaded right now, so and in sharp contrast to a few days ago, I am terribly interested in what the market's doing and very engaged in it and interested. So let's go through these in alphabetical order. Beginning with the DBC, this is the commodity ETF, and we are getting tantalizingly close to a prospective breakdown. As you can see there, I've got my slope alerts set to scream at me in case it fails at 23.32. And it'll require oil getting weaker to do that. Other direction, EFA. This is the worldwide equities, sans North America. And we haven't failed on this one either, but I have likewise set, as you can see, rather enthusiastic slope alert there at 68.76. Should it deign to do so. It sure looks like it's primed to. In a similar fashion, here's the Eurozone. You can see just a really gorgeous chart with respect to its ability to, it's kind of done that each time. In fact, as I'm looking at it, this kind of flip-flop of bullish, bearish, kind of cool. Sorry, I'm being anal here, but I like how these sort of toggle back and forth. So here's the latest one. And here's our top. Hard fall up, and this trend line probably doesn't serve any value anymore, so we'll say goodbye to that. But here's this little top here we're working on, and once again, big excited slope alert waiting to be activated there. China fell today 1%. This has been quite an interesting one, and here too is probably outlived its usefulness. But we went blasting higher, conked our head right there, fell, pushed higher again, got a nice little gap there. Although with these overseas ETFs, the gaps really aren't that meaningful because, as you can see, you know, the gaps are all over the place based upon the kind of time shift. But this is a decent enough top that I thought was worth marking. Gold has been a real dog lately. This went just roaring higher from its bottom on November 3 to its top on February 1, which was just the day prior to the equity top. And since then, we've fallen quite hard. And as with FX, I have a nice clean gap there. And since all assets seem to be tethered to each other, it makes sense this is weakening. And there's plenty more room down to about 155 for this to keep slumping. Silver has certainly slumped. This trend line has done a fine job of hemming in prices. The highest we got was on Groundhog Day, naturally, and it's fallen hard from $22.50 down to about under $18.50. So pretty sharp drop there, about, I don't know, 20%. You do the math, but fallen quite a bit and well into this basing pattern, which has been pretty much rendered moot. The spider, of course, you can't ignore that. This is the granddaddy of them all, biggest volume of them all, oldest of them all. And we zoom in on this one. And in this instance, this, of course, I talk about every 30 minutes or so, this trend line, first pierced on the 23rd, and we've been playing jump rope with it ever since. And we've got a nice reversal pattern here. I believe I saw this referred to as the evening star. But in any case, what is key about this is a resumption of the movement below this broken trend line. We peaked on Monday, fell hard on Tuesday, and recovered a bit, kind of exactly, if you watched early on Wednesday, I basically said that we were prone for a bounce. And we got a little bit of a bounce. Hopefully that's it. And if God willing, this thing really starts weakening, the first really important support levels down here, 377.81, very, very strong. These two lines here are a double primed reinforced titanium coated wall. If by some miracle, like global thermonuclear war, we get below that, then it really opens up a whole new chapter of this market. Energy, quite weak. Here's the XLE, which sealed its gap very nicely a few days ago, and it's been tumbling. And we've got at least, I would say, this portion to tumble further. And then XOP, even weaker. This one has broken its trend line. We've been working within this range. Here's the gap. Got quite close on Friday to closing that gap, and it's fallen ever since. And the next goal on this one would be a failure of this level. And you know what? Why don't we just make a chart alert now, just to, if nothing else, be instructional about how these are done. XOP energy failure. So now that will monitor that for me. Just wrapping up with a few indexes here. A little bit redundant, but this is the S&P 500 cash, which goes back all the way to the beginning of the prior century. Always love this chart because you can see this is actually when, you know, listen, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent. This is fascinating to me. This is the pre-Fed market. You notice boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust, boom. You notice how prior to the Fed and prior to the heavy-duty federal manipulation, things move in cycles. And they weren't exactly the same in terms of length, but, you know, it worked. You know, this is the organic way that things boom and bust. Nice and smooth. Kind of beautiful, really. And then instead, you know, we get this. You can still see from time to time, like here, for example, that sort of boom-bust cycle revealing itself again. But on the whole, we've moved from this kind of thing to, you know, manufactured weirdness like this. So anyway, get off my soapbox. Zooming in here to what's relevant at the moment. Here's our old friend, the trend line, and there's our pair of the aforementioned titanium-coated steel alloy wall. The VIX naturally slipped back into the teens today, but it seems to me we might have a very good shot at holding support here. Here's the supporting trend line all the way up. And of course, what we want to see is a breakout above this area, you know, push us into the, it's sort of sad to like yearn for the mid-20s. That seems so modest, but the mid-20s, people would be running around with their hair on fire in this market. And then finally, also encouraging here, the XOI, the oil index. Check it out. First time ever, this trend line, we have closed beneath it. I guess we did so here too, but you can very plainly see the erosion, the damage, the fracturing going on here over the past couple of weeks. And what we want to see, of course, is just give up, just completely fall away from that to a meltdown. Anywho, that is, as they say, that, and I'll end it with that. And it's been a pretty interesting week, I've got to say. And we will see what else we can shake from the trees for the rest of this week.